Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good. Whenever you're ready, we're gonna start in courtroom 2.
Okay, it's 1:57. Want to give everyone a minute for everyone to get on.
And Your Honor, this is the South Annex. I have Attorney Ansley Sluss.
Sluss.
Good afternoon, Ms.
Good afternoon.
Sluss.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
So do you want us, you only have 2, is that right, Officer Milton?
Yes, Your Honor.
Courtroom 2, would you mind if we did the South Annex so I could let them go?
All right.
All right, thank you. Who do we have up first at the South Annex?
We have before you Miss Anna Lindgren.
What position is that?
I apologize, I did not look it up, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lindgren. And who's presenting for the state? Ms. Sorry, is this you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Good afternoon, Ms. Lindgren. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are holding by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lindgren, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002474C with simple assault family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard? I think Mr. Howard's not at his desk right now. We'll get back with him. Ms. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to 33 11th Street in Atlanta regarding a physical dispute. When officers arrived, they spoke with the cross defendant, who is Jacob Weaver. They spoke with him regarding this incident, and he informed officers that the defendant came home and initiated an argument with him regarding a previous disagreement. Mr. Weaver then stated that the defendant swung punches at him and he pushed her away in order to avoid being hit. Mr. Weaver then stated the defendant fell on the bed, and when she got up, her nose was bleeding. The defendant told officers that Mr. Weaver was actually the initial aggressor and pushed her first. So both parties were ultimately arrested, Your Honor. The defendant, from what I have, the defendant has one other arrest other than this one. It was from 2017 for false report of a crime. I did not see a disposition. The state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond with conditions of no contact with the cross defendant, a 1-day anger awareness course, stay away, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Okay, Mr. Howard, are you there?
He hasn't logged on yet, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Howard is in courtroom 2.
Mr. Howard, right here.
I know. Judge, you heard me?
For pretrial?
Oh. No, this is the co-defendant.
Oh, okay. Right, no, I'm asking for pretrial, Mr. Howard. All right, Ms. Sluss?
Yes, hello, Judge. Unfortunately, this was a situation where the victim called the police. Indeed, my client was the one who called the police to assist her after being thrown against the wall and against the floor. And the aggressor in this situation, her husband, has already been released from custody, I believe for battery, and it's because she was taken to Grady, because at least the officers, I don't know if they didn't write it in the report, but believed her that she was slammed against the floor and the wall, and thus she was given, they wanted to make sure she did not have any internal injuries, so she was given x-rays, and due to that time limit, she is here today as opposed to yesterday, and thus delaying, her eventual release. The other incident, unfortunately, is in 2017, involved another incident of domestic violence where she was the victim, and her ex-husband and his family, because he had a military career, advised that after she had called the police and made the report of the actual incident, that if she did not withdraw it on the stand, that they would no longer, he would lose his job and he would no longer financially support their daughter, who is now age 17. And so on the stand, she claimed that he did not shoot the gun, like he had aimed a gun at her and her daughter. And she claimed, she said on the stand, because of this threat from the family, that he did not, and maybe he was just swinging it around and only holding it against himself. You know, as we know, domestic violence victims recanting, they unfortunately, because of the cycle of abuse, it's likely to happen, and that necessarily shouldn't follow. And so I just hope that the court will disregard that incident as a whole, because she was arrested on the stand after stating that potentially he didn't point the gun at her. And so unfortunately, this is an individual who has been victimized by two different gentlemen. This is the third incident and the only one she called the police for, because it escalated and she was hit on the nose and her nose was bleeding, and she took pictures of that. She had the foresight to take pictures. He then followed her into the bedroom where she was taking pictures, and she was about to call the police, and took the phone from her. And so it wasn't until she was able to call later, and the police of course took quite a while, so she had cleaned up her nose by the time they got there. If she swung at all, it was in one of the incidents that she was being pinned to the ground or against the wall, and thus was in complete self-defense. And unfortunately, just Judge, this just seems like a big miscarriage of justice in this instance. I understand why the officers had to do what they had to do, but in particular, because she was taken to Grady and thus everything has been delayed at minimum 24 hours for her release. This has been an extremely traumatic experience. And I just am asking for, if possible, a signature bond, but whatever possible, the most important thing is just to please get her out of jail.
Okay, Ms. Les, I'm giving her history. I'm going to give her a signature bond. I'm more concerned about, and I do remember Mr. Weaver from yesterday. Does she have someplace else to go besides this 3311 Street address?
She is the named leaseholder on that address. I believe she does have a very close friend here in Atlanta who she could stay with right now. The only reason she even stayed there were because his minor children were still in the house and she was worried about their safety. And that's why she did not run out of the house when the abuse began at this instance.
Okay.
All around his ex-wife, she also called to come pick up the kids, and that ex-wife was also called 911 in the incidents because she was told that the ex-wife had to call as well when she was on her way to pick up the kids. They were both together when the officers arrived downstairs, and it's just unfortunate.
All right. So, Ms. Lindgren and Mr. Weaver, do they have any biological children together?
No, sir.
Okay.
It was his minor children, 5-year-old and 9-year-old. The 9-year-old may have witnessed some of the abuse in this incident as well, but Mr. Weaver is very charming.
Okay. It's gonna, Ms. Story, you have anything further? And I believe that I did give Mr. Weaver a signature bond yesterday through pretrial.
Yes, Your Honor. I was looking up the bond sheet. It was a signature bond, and I see no further violent contact, but if we could have no contact with them, given the defense's dissertation of the history of violence between the two, I do not see a stay away listed in the order. So
Well, it makes it a little difficult when one person comes before me on one day and another person comes before me on another day with two different accounts of what's going on. So it is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pre-trial, a one-day anger awareness class, and until we can sort this out, no further contact with Mr. Weaver, and stay away from the 33 11th Street address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No drugs.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Judge Morrow. I don't know if I said it before, I just thought it, but her name is on the lease. He is not actually the leaseholder of that apartment. He is not named on the lease. Is there any way that
He is named on the lease, but my daughter lives with me and she goes to school in that district, and his kids do not go to school in that district. She goes to Grady High School and walks to school every day, and she's with me 70% of the time.
Your Honor, may I please address for Mr. Weaver, who was my client yesterday? He has two business that he operates from the house, and he has a lot of computers. That's what I was told.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you all sort this out at a later time. At this point in time, I don't think that that you all need to be around each other. I'm happy to modify this bond at some point down the line, but until there's a sufficient cooling off period, I am going to, and since I've already dealt with Mr. Weaver yesterday, I'm going to order that there's no further contact with Mr. Weaver. Stay away. She can go back one time with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Down the road, if things change, then I'm happy to revisit and modify the bond. Okay, I'm giving her the opportunity to sign herself out of custody today.
thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
Thank
Okay.
you, Judge. The only thing I ask further, if there's any way that there can be any kind of order or suggestion even for the Fulton County South Annex to be able to transfer her before the night shift. That would be the only other thing I would request, just because yesterday she was transferred to South Fulton. I was told it would be between 7 p.m. and 12 p.m. and it occurred at 4 a.m. And just here, you know, even though it's a he said, she said situation, the unfairness of her being incarcerated for so much longer here is just to further this potential injustice.
I understand what you're saying. I have no control over the South Annex, but I'm sure they will process her out as quickly as they can. Okay, good luck to you, Ms. Lindgren. All right, any further business, Ms. West?
Next, we have Ms. White.
So there was no contact or no further violence?
Hold on a second. Ms. West, any further business?
No, thank you.
Okay, that was no further contact, Mr. Howard. All right, you have a good afternoon, Ms. West.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Ms. White, and I apologize, I do not have the position number, sir.
23.
Your Honor, actually, she was assigned to me, and I have tried to contact South Annex prior to 2 p.m. hearing, and I was not able to have an interview
Okay,
with
so
her.
we'll put you in a breakout room
Thank you, Your Honor.
with the South Annex, and I'll go back to courtroom 2.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, if we can put Ms. Kim and the South Annex into a breakout room, please. In courtroom 2, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, this is position 12, Jackson.
Okay, thank you. And who's representing Mr. Jackson?
Good afternoon, Your Honor, Wanda Gant.
Hi, good afternoon, Ms. Gant. Thank you. Let's see. Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002427A with obtaining unlawful entry into MARTA and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
40 total. Last arrest was June 2021 on Martyr. Robbery by sudden snatch. May 2021, failure to appear. Possession of cocaine. 2020, simple battery. Another 2020, probation violation for simple battery. 2018, probation violation, burglary in the second degree. He's on probation for trespass, simple battery against police. As of February 2022. He has the open robbery. Yeah, you want more or that's enough?
No, that's good. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Good afternoon, Mr. Segura.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I could begin. The date of offense is April the 22nd, 2022 at Malta, located at 235 Peachtree Street, Southwest Atlanta. In this particular case, police are walking detail at the Garnet Malta station, where they observed the defendant gain unlawful entry into the station for walking through a malfunctioning failgate that was stuck in an open position, and the defendant did not pay or make attempt to do so. When the police came in contact with the defendant, they were able to identify that he was permanently banned from Malta since June 9th, 2021, and he knowingly and intentionally acknowledged that he entered Malta station when he knew that he was not supposed to. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, $1,000 for the Malta entrance, and $2,000 for the criminal trespass. A stay away from Malta. Recommendations are based on these facts, and also because of his lengthy criminal history. As pretrials noted, he has committed similar crimes of criminal trespass in 2006, 2007, and 2013. As such, we're deeply concerned that he will commit this crime again if he is released. And also, we noticed that he might show up to court if he is released, as he has FTAs dating from 2005, 2020, 2021, and several parole violations. As such, we find that our surety bond is necessary. Thank you.
Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tobias Jackson is 44 years old. I do apologize, Your Honor. Mr. Tobias Jackson is 44 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area for 44 years. He has children, including a daughter who is 25 years of age. We are unopposed to the stay away at the MARTA location if he has an active suspension. Mr. Jackson has obtained a GED and he has been disabled since 2013, and his disability makes it difficult for him to move around and stand in the jail. He denies the allegations and he does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. While I acknowledge my client's history, I would just bring to the court's attention that this is a non-violent offense. I believe that the bond that the state is recommending is excessive. Bond should not be punitive. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Jackson's behalf. And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then the lowest bond possible, as again, he does not have the means to pay anything toward bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, excuse me just a moment.
So they doing a training out there, Judge. I don't know why.
Okay, thank you. It's going to be a $250 good bond for each count, making it a total of a $500 good bond. Stay away from the Garnet MARTA station if there's an active suspension in place. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Jackson. Who do we have next?
Position 3, Ms. Bryant.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bryant. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 22 CR 002483C with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Correct.
Good afternoon, Ms. Harmon. You're on mute. Okay.
Good afternoon, Judge. I apologize. Let me just pull her case back up, please.
Is this your case, Mr. Lewis?
It is, Judge. Good morning. Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bryant. On April 25th, 2022, officers responded to 6990 Kimberly Mills Road in Atlanta regarding a domestic dispute where they were able to interview the victim. In this case, I'm going to spell her first name as Chassiggy, last name Bryant. The victim, Miss Bryant, told officers that the defendant, her sister, came to her home to fight her. They were in an argument over social media, and they basically convened at Miss Bryant's house. The victim, Miss Bryant, advised that she was trying to leave the property, and the defender struck her with a closed fist. The parties did have an actual physical fight before the officers arrived. However, the defendant appears to be the aggressor in this situation. As Mr. Howard stated, this is the defendant's first arrest. In this case, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And that's because we believe she just presents a danger to the victim. It was just, the victim was trying to leave the situation before it became violent, and the defendant in this case struck her, and it didn't have to be that way. So that's the basis for my bond recommendation, Your Honor, in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, this house is actually Louise Bryant's house. The facts, the way Madam Prosecutor read them, I can understand all them Bryans being involved in here. But this is actually where my client lives, and her purported sister is trying to leave my client's house. My client is 26 years of age, Judge. She has no priors, lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. She's not a felon, as you know, no open cases, not on probation, no FTAs. 11th grade, completed the 11th grade. She is a disabled person, Judge. That's the reason for her not working. She has a 1-year-old child. Judge, we're going to ask the court to give an SOB in this case. Definitely not compel her to stay away from her own house where the purported victim does not live. And Judge, I'm gonna leave it up to you whether you want no contact or no violence. I'm not even gonna make a request in that one. Understanding that the state says that this is her sister. And the event occurred over social media. Started over social media, which is interesting.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness class, no further contact with her sister, Chassiggy Bryant, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Ms. Bryant.
Next, we have position 4, Carrillo.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Carrillo.
Carrillo. Good afternoon, Mr. Carrillo. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 002484J with obscured or missing license plate, expired or no license on person, and giving false name information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
5 total. Last was 2016, driving without a valid license, no low. 2013 FTA, it was not prosecuted. 2010, driving without a valid license, conviction. He was arrested by ICE. 2011 for alien inadmissibility. He has a hold out of Gwinnett for assault. That's it.
Ms. Hartman?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred, excuse me. This incident occurred on April 25th, 2022 at the location of 1400 West Peachtree Street in Atlanta. Simply put, the defendant in this case was operating a gray Ford SUV with a test drive tag, a paper tag. When he was confronted by officers, he was unable to produce a valid license. He didn't have one on his person. He told the deputy that his name was Jose Perez, when in fact that isn't his name. Our recommendation is $1,000 surety bond on each charge. I think he has a risk of reoffending, and that's consistent with the history that Mr. Howard gave us, the 2010 driving without a license, the 2016 driving without a license as well. So I think the $1,000 surety bond on each charge is appropriate in this case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jorge Carrillo is 30 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2001. He is married. His wife is currently 4 months pregnant. He also has, with his wife, a 6-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. Mr. Carrillo completed 10th grade. He owns a remodeling business called CNR Improvements. He has been self-employed for 7 years. Your Honor, I acknowledge my client's history. However, his driving offenses are remote, Your Honor, and these are non-violent offenses. He does have that hold. He's unaware of that warrant, and he really needs to get to Gwinnett to address that hold. Therefore, I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Carrillo's behalf. He denies the allegations, and if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible for a signature bond, then I would recommend a bond of no more than $1,000, and that would be $500 for giving a false name and $250 for each of the other driving offenses: obscured, missing license plate, and expired no license on person. Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I would just add that the recommendation that the state is giving does take into account that the history is older. But what I wanted to point out to you, Your Honor, is a repeated offense. And so it does indicate that there is some risk of reoffending. So I do think that the $1,000 surety bond on each charge is consistent with taking in the history that the defendant does have in this case fairly.
All right, these are nonviolent charges. It's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail for each count, which is a total of a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving without a valid license. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 22, Mr. Toles. Oh, I'm sorry, he's using the restroom. We can go on to position 18, Simmons.
Good afternoon, Mr. Simmons. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Mr. Simmons. You've been charged in case 22 CR 002470E with theft of service. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. 2016, driving without a valid license. Another 2016, driving without a valid license. That's it.
Ms. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, Officer Jones, he was working an extra job at the incident location. That address is 794 Juniper Street in Atlanta, and it's the address of the Sivas, S-I-V-A-S. It's a restaurant. The officer encountered the defendant who came to the door. He was obviously drunk, unsteady on his feet, and had slurred speech. The defendant informed the security at the front that he was a friend of the DJ, and he was allowed to enter. After about an hour or so, the security saw the defendant rapidly moving through the restaurant at a pace more frequent than a normal patron. The security asked the officer to follow him, and as they went outside on the sidewalk, they saw the defendant running away. The manager of the restaurant did inform the officer that the defendant ran up a tab of over $100 and fled without paying. And the manager stated that the defendant has done this before and he is now not welcome back to the restaurant. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond with conditions of staying away from the incident location, alcohol and drug evaluation, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Is this your case, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Simmons is 32 years old, and actually, I mean, he is a friend of DJ. He knows people there, and he had a lady that he met, and there were two friends in the same table. They were eating together, and the ladies left first, according to my client, and he did not want to pay for somebody else's bill, which was $100. I know it's over $100, 23 cents over $100, and that's not what he was obligated to pay. I think he's qualified to get a signature on bond, and he has been here in Georgia ever since from 2009. There's no flight risk. He's working as an engineer, and he has a job. He has associate degree and bachelor's degree. We would like to recommend him for signature on bond. Thank you.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from 794 Juniper Street. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Simmons.
Hold on. Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Position 11, Mr. Howard.
Good afternoon, Mr. Howard. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002475C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard? Mr. Tucson Howard?
Got 11 total. Last arrest was September 2021 for obstruction. July 2021, unlawful conduct during 911 call. 2015, riot in a penal institution, dismissed. 2015, fleeing an officer, conviction. Lord. 2015, felony theft by taking, conviction. 2012, probation violation. Trespass is underlying charge. 2012, cruelty in the second degree, conviction. That's it. Oh yeah, he's on parole as well for the fleeing and felony theft by taking. He get off of parole in 2025. I think he has a parole hold. I'm not sure. I thought I saw it, but don't quote.
Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to 1100 Ira Street, Southwest in Atlanta, regarding a domestic dispute. They spoke with the victim, Angelica, Angelica, Angelica Thomas, last name. The defendant punched the victim in the face several times and also in her head. As we've heard from pretrial, the defendant does have a history. He presents a flight risk from a fleeing conviction. He also had a 2011 possession of a firearm by a felon, where he used his first offenders, cruelty to children, criminal negligence, interference with custody. That was a guilty conviction. He has multiple probation violations and an obstruction charge. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond with conditions of no contact with the victim, 1-day anger awareness course, and stay away from the incident location.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. Gant.
if I may, I lost internet connection. Which position are we?
We're on position 11, Mr. Howard.
Mr. Howard is my client. I did not hear anything, Your Honor, except for the latter part of ASG Salary's presentation.
Okay, that's fine. Ms. Sawyer, can you repeat your presentation, please?
Sure. Officers responded to 1100 Ira Street, Southwest in Atlanta, regarding a domestic dispute between the defendant and the victim, Angelica Thomas, where the defendant punched the victim in the face several times. We've heard from pretrial of his history. He also has a possession of a firearm by a convicted felon where he used his first offenders, cruelty to children, criminal negligence, and interference with custody. That was a guilty conviction, multiple probation violations, and also that fleeing conviction. The recommendation is $3,000 surety with conditions of no contact with the victim, 1 day anger awareness, and stay away from the incident location.
Okay, anything further, Ms. Gant?
Nothing further. Mr. Howard is 28 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has family here, including a 10-year-old son. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away at 1110 Ira Street. However, I did make contact with Miss Angelica Thomas, and she informed me that she does not want to have contact with him. Therefore, we will defer to the court's ruling. And if Your Honor issues a stay away, I would ask for a one-time law enforcement escort so that Mr. Howard may retrieve his belongings. Mr. Howard completed 10th grade. He went on to obtain a GED. He is employed at Higher Quest and has been so since June of 2021. He denies the allegations. He informs me that Ms. Angelica Thomas was irate and upset and had scissors and was threatening him, and he felt threatened, Your Honor. While I acknowledge my client's history, I would ask that Your Honor consider my client's community ties. He does not have the means to pay much toward bond, Your Honor. I would ask for a signature bond on his behalf, and if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then a bond of no more than $1,000. Again, we are opposed to the stay away and the no contact orders, and would ask that Your Honor order a no violent contact order. And finally, Your Honor, a one-time law enforcement transfer and a third-party transfer for the children if a stay away and no contact is ordered. Thank you.
And Your Honor, this is the victim's address. So we are asking for that stay away. And Ms. Gant has stated that the victim does not want contact. So we are asking for no contact. Nothing further.
It's going to be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Angelica Thomas, stay away from the Irish Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he may have there. Third-party contact for visitation with the minor children, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 22, Mr. Toles.
Good afternoon, Mr. Toles. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 002451E with disorderly conduct and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
First arrest. I think he's a resident of Canada.
Mr. Segura?
The date of offense is April the 22nd, 2022, at an establishment called the Standard Bar, located at 994 Alpharetta Street, Roswell. In this instance, police officials were dispatched to the incident location in regards to a fight in progress. When the police arrived, they found the defendant was drunk and belligerent. At the time, the defendant struck a young woman, and other patrons of the bar had to put him off and to restrain him. He caused such a storm as other people had to physically grab him and try to prevent him from moving. At some point, witnesses were absolved that he actually put out a gun, but the police won't, and some of the witnesses kind of conflict with that. But anyways, when police also sort of trying to arrive, the defendant, patrons pointed at the defendant to the police. When the police officers told the defendant to come, the defendant fled on foot. This ended up with the police officers having a foot race with the defendant and eventually capturing him. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, $1,500 for the disorderly conduct, and $2,000 for the willful obstruction, alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and a stay away from the 994 Alpharetta Street, Roswell location. Recommendations are based on these facts. We acknowledge that even though this is the first arrest, we're deeply concerned based on the facts that he struck a woman who could have been random, and he was such an aggressive state that he needed to be held back. Alongside, he ran from the police, and we're concerned that he could be a fact risk as he is a Canadian resident, and we could easily just leave on day's notice and just simply not come back. And for that, we believe a surety bond is necessary. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Segura. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Toast Tustin is actually Canadian resident. He came here to US last Friday morning for a vacation. He was having fun with his friends, and he is self-employed as a music engineer. He does audio engineering, and he has been doing that about 1.5 years, and he has up to 12th grade education. His mother is actually flying from Canada to help him with this situation. He does not remember anything. He's completely blocked out, so we cannot verify any of the facts that what happened to that day. We would like to request for a signature on bond because he's traveling. He does not have any funds other than even though he want to get a bond, they refuse to give him any kind of, he's not eligible to get a surety bond, Your Honor. So he has to get signature on bond to get out of the jail. So we would like to request for that. Thank you.
Okay, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail for each charge, which makes it a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the 994 Alpharetta Street address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Tellers.
I'm sorry, Judge, what was the bond amount?
A total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,000 for each count.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have position 16, Mr. Nwaka.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nwaka. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Nwaka, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002473E with giving false information to law enforcement, willful obstruction of law enforcement, and another count of giving false information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 total. Last arrest was back in February. Robbery by sudden snatch. June 2021, battery. January 2021, fleeing an officer, suspended license and acquiring license plate for purpose of concealing identification. Another January 2021, driving without a valid license. September 2020, felony theft by taking, 2 counts. 1 count robbery, 1 count entering auto. Both of those felony arrests are open in Superior Court.
Okay, Ms. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to Walmart at 970 Mansell Road in Roswell. They were responding regarding a criminal trespass. While officers were giving the defendant the criminal trespass warning, the defendant was asked for his ID. He claimed not to have it on his person, and he gave a name and date of birth to the officers. When the officers ran that information, it came back false. They then arrested him for giving a false name. And when he was searched, Your Honor, his ID was found with his correct name and date of birth. And just for the record, the name given was Mamadou, last name BAH, and date of birth was 1503. As we've heard from pretrial, the defendant does have a significant history. He has 4 open cases right now, 2 with the DA's office and 2 in state court. So he does present a risk of reoffending. The state's recommendation, the bond is currently set at $2,500 surety on the false name and the obstruction. And we're asking for a $2,500 surety on the given false date of birth with conditions of no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Where's the criminal trespass charge, Ms. Sari?
It was a verbal criminal trespass warning by the officers. So we didn't charge it. It was the first time warning given to him.
Your Honor, he never had any.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. He's going to get his SOB through the jail. It's going to be $1,000 SOB through the jail for each count, which makes it a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Mansell Road, 970 Mansell Road address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Permission to speak, Your Honor?
No.
Oh, I strongly recommend you not, advise you not to talk. We don't want to incriminate your case. Signature bond.
All right. Who do we have next?
Position 19, Mr. Strozier.
Good afternoon, Mr. Strozier. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Strozier, you've been charged in case 22CR002479Y with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
28 total. Last arrest was 2017. Aggravated assault, criminal damage to property, possession of a firearm by convicted felon, possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 narcotic, death by receiving reckless conduct. In 2018, they gave him 8 years to serve, 2 years probation for sale of marijuana. I think he has a parole hold. What else? Anything else you want to know?
The aggravated assault, what year was that?
2017.
And what happened with that?
I don't know. Let me look it up now.
Okay. You'll get back with me, Mr. Howard. Mr. Segura.
The incident date is April the 25th, 2022 at 1005 Baldwin Southwest Street, Atlanta. Officers were dispatched and arrived at the incident location on a domestic violence battery call. When they arrived, they spoke with the victim, a Miss Dyreka Williams. Dyreka spelled D-Y-R-I-C-A, Williams, common spelling. Miss Williams told the officers that in the morning, the defendant came over to watch their daughter, a Miss D. Williams, and because Miss Williams was getting ready to go to work. Miss Williams stated they were in the living room and their daughter was on the sofa. While they were trying to have a conversation about their daughter's education and his stability in life, the defendant became agitated and upset and started to attack her in the presence of the daughter, D. Williams. Ms. Williams then stated that the argument started off as a simple disagreement and verbal dispute. but then became extremely violent and physical as he began to choke her and then strike her. She said that while he was choking her, she told her daughter to stay on the couch, and then when she noticed that her daughter was witnessing this violent event, she decided to fight back, in which the defendant ended up striking her in the back of her head. She was then able to get him off of her, and then she was able to call the police. When police arrived, they were able to observe physical abrasions on her neck, and she had the appearance that she was in a violent struggle. Because of this, we're recommending a $8,000 surety bond, $7,000 for the family body violence, and $1,000 for the cruelty to children, alcohol, drugs, and weapons, one-day anger awareness, a stay from the 1005 Baldwin Street, Southwest Atlanta address, and no further contact with Erika Williams and all the B. Williams except for adult party transfer. Our allegations are based on these facts and also because the mere violence that the defendant was able to inflict upon Ms. Williams in front of her child. In this case, we're actually able to speak with the victim, Ms. Williams, earlier today. They do not live together, but do have a child. He stated that that incident did occur, but she seemed to be kind of debating and kind of denying that in fact she was choked. Being so, the choking was in the police report, and I believe there's actual evidence that she was choked. And because of alongside, we also want to take into account the defendant's violent history. As noted by Petra, he has 2007 aggravated assault arrest. And also, he also has simple batteries in which he was convicted in 2001, 2002. And he has several FTAs dating from 2005, 2006, 2013. So he also did be concerned that if he's released, he could simply leave, as even though he has a daughter, he's not living in the area. So we do be concerned about the safety of Ms. Williams. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Kim, Mr. Strozier has his hand up. Mr. Strozier, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm happy to give you the opportunity to speak with Ms. Kim if you need to do so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Daniel is 37 years old and they do not live together, so there's no need to worry about stay away. And aggravated assault on 2017, he actually was arrested and he was in the jail, and he told me that he was not indicted. It got dismissed. And even after 2017, he now has a child. He has not been violent. That's what he claims, and he denies the allegation. There was a misunderstanding about what happened, and he is gainfully employed as a forklift driver. He has been working last 2 years, and he is eager to get out of the jail so he can keep his job and continuously pay for his 6-year-old daughter. We would like to request for signature on bond for this. Thank you.
Ms. Williams, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You don't have to address the court, but if you would like to, I'll need for you to, you're not driving, are you?
I am. My phone is on the stand.
Okay, regardless, I'm gonna have to have you pull over. This is a court session, so I don't need for you to be on the telephone and driving at the same time. So if you'll pull over for the court if you need to speak with us.
Okay. I'm pulling over now as we speaking.
Okay, while you're doing that, Mr. Howard, would you clarify the history for me?
Yeah, Judge, I don't see the, I think the ag assault, they either dismissed it or they amended it to something else. But in the charges where he was sentenced, every charge is in there except for the ag assault.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. And Mr. Segura, on my calendar, I have the offense date as 4/21/2020. Is that incorrect? Is it a 2022? As you stated, what is the offense date?
My apologies. Let me check. I may have got it wrong. It's 2020. My apologies.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, Ms. Williams, have you pulled over?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I'd like to tell the court that this case right here is a simply misunderstanding. I was very angry and mad, going through a lot of things with my own life and my job, and he was being a man and a father coming to help me with the child. I was being so over dramatically. I wouldn't use that for excuse, but I was dramatic. I was in my feelings. And I'm just asking at the moment while he's on his feet, we're on good terms to get his child 4 to 5 days out of the week, take her to school, pick her up, dentist appointments and all. And he does have a job. He's been doing wonderful. He's been doing great as a father and as a person. So I'm just asking if there's any way we can just dismiss this case. Me and Mr. Stroger has been on very good terms. We have come into agreement that does not have to even involve the court when it comes down to our child. So I'm just asking because of the situation that I was in, causing me to, act against anger, that we could probably get this dismissed against him so he can continue to do what he's been doing. Please, I'm asking.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Williams, let me see. So this happened back in 2020. Have you all been around each other since 2020, since this alleged incident?
All the time.
And you have a child together?
A 6-year-old daughter, she'd be 7 in June.
Okay, and he's taking care of your child?
Perfectly.
And you're not afraid of him?
Definitely not.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome.
Mr. Segura, Ms. Kim, anything further?
I can emphasize that regardless of what was just said, that there was a violence incident that occurred on this date, and there was signs of physical abrasions to her neck, which is in a police report. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Segura. For the battery, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. For the cruelty, a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, making for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Ms. Williams. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you, Mr. Strozier.
The first charge was through the jail or through pretrial, you said? I didn't hear you say through the jail.
Everything's through the jail.
Okay.
What was that contact, Judge?
No further violent contact. Yes, Ms. Williams.
When you say through the jail, that means it has to be paid through the jail or he signed himself off?
No, he's allowed to sign his own bond, so he's not gonna have to pay anything to get out, okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have position 13, Mr. Kirkland.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kirkland. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Kirkland, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002469A with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No, first.
Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to 919 Greenwood Avenue Northeast in Atlanta regarding a physical dispute. The victim in this case, Christina Morales, her mother actually called the police after she received a text message from the victim stating that the defendant hit her. The victim told officers that she was home off work that day, and she informed the defendant that she would be inviting her friend over to hang out. The defendant does not get along with the victim's friend and said he would leave the home. And when the victim did not make the defendant feel good about leaving or try to stop him from leaving, a verbal dispute ensued, and then a physical dispute followed. The defendant then jumped on top of the victim. He struck her multiple times with a closed fist and then fled the scene. Your Honor, even though this is the defendant's first arrest, officers did note in the report, in the warrant, that there had been previous 911 calls to the incident location regarding a dispute, specifically where the defendant threatened to kill himself and a gun was retrieved from him and he was sent to Grady for evaluation. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond with conditions of no contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, a one-day anger awareness course, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Have you or your office spoken with Ms. Morales?
Just 1 second. Check. We attempted to reach out to her and left a message.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Christian Kirkland is 27 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 6 years. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away at the incident location. However, I was unable to contact Ms. Christina Morales. My client still wants to have contact. Mr. Kirkland completed high school. He is employed at Nordstrom and has been so for the past 3 months. He's also employed at Publix. He has been in that position for 10 months. However, he is concerned that he may have lost both jobs because he has been incarcerated for the past 5 or 6 days. And also he was on track to be promoted to manager in both positions. Your Honor, Mr. Kirkland denies the allegations. He informs me that this incident happened in August of 2021. He states that Ms. Morales, actually attacked him. He basically was trying to push her away to get her off him. He stated that he also sustained black eye, cuts, and bruises. My client does not have any prior history whatsoever. He is presumed innocent in this matter. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Kirkland's behalf. We are again opposed to the stay away and the no contact orders. However, we will defer to the court's ruling. And if a stay away is issued, we will not need a one-time law enforcement escort. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant, I've got down that he's only been in custody for 2 days and not 5 or 6. Is there something that I'm missing?
We will defer to the court's position on that, Your Honor.
All right, your client has his hand up, Ms. Gant.
I advise you to remain silent, Mr. Kirkland. I will give you a call.
Okay, so it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness. Until someone makes contact with Ms. Morales, it's going to be no further contact at this point, and stay away from the Greenwood Avenue address. If he has belongings there, he can have a one-time escort to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
His hand is up again, Ms. Gant.
Mr. Kirkland, I will give you a call.
Okay, who do we have next?
Position 7, Mr. Doe.
I'm sorry, tell me again.
Position 7, Mr. Doe.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Judge. My name is Acacia Laidlaw, a paralegal for Attorney Lewis, and this is his client. He's asking if you can please hold for his report.
Okay, can we go to someone else?
Thank you, Judge. Can you hold all of his clients to the end?
Okay. I
Thank
don't
you,
know.
Judge.
Can you tell me who his clients are?
Yes, sir. He has Mr. Dove. He has, I'm sorry, the jailman can give you all of his clients if that's okay, Judge.
All right. Courtroom 2, do you have Mr. Lewis is requesting that his clients be held to the end of the calendar. Do you know who those?
Yes, that's fine, Judge.
Okay, thank you. So who do we have next?
Position 24, Mr. Wemby.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wemby. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are holding by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Wemby, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002477A with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
65 total. Last arrest was November, trespass. September 2021, trespass. November 2020, FTA, criminal damage to property, second degree. 2018, probation violation, public indecency. Failure to appear, trespass. 2018, trespass conviction. Another 2018 trespass conviction. Want me to keep going?
I think I have the idea. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Segura?
Meeting called on April the 25th, 2022 at Cosby Spears Memorial Towers, located at 365 North Avenue Northeast, apartment 402, Atlanta. In this instance, police responded to a criminal trespass dispatch at the incident location, which is a retirement home. Upon arrival, they met with Miss Leona Ingram. Leonia spelled Leonia, Ingram, common spelling, concerning her son refusing to leave her apartment. She stated that her son does not live there, has no belongings, and is currently trespassing on an apartment complex. When police arrived, he said that he knows he's not supposed to be on the premises at Cosby Spears Memorial Towers. And also, he has been arrested at the same location multiple times before. As the warrant indicates, at least 5 times at the same location. Mr. Wemby also stated that he refuses to leave the apartment and only had to leave when police forced him to. Because of this, we're asking for a $2,000 surety bond, narco, drugs, and weapons, a stay from the 365 North Avenue Northeast location. Foundations of business facts, and also because of criminal history, we're really concerned that he will offend again, because as we try to note, and I could explain a bit more, he has been arrested and convicted of criminal trespass in 2007, 2008, and twice in 2009, 3 times 2010, 2012, 2013, and FTA for that criminal trespass 2013 as well, and committed multiple criminal trespasses, offenses, and convictions dating from 2014 and all the way to 2018, which also include FTAs as well. Because of the high risk of reoffense, we really like to have a surety bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
The alleged victim, Mr. Segura, is the last name Ingram?
Yes, that's the defendant's mom.
Okay, so Ms. Ingram stays at this retirement center and Mr. Wemby has been asked not to go back there, basically.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, I was going to request for short breakout for this client.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Segura, Ms. Kim, Ms. Weidman.
Your Honor, I also have a case that needs a breakout.
Okay. So as we go forward, and as you all already know, please let me know what needs to break out at the top of the calendar.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that we can anticipate that. So what other case needs a breakout, Ms. Sari?
Your Honor, it's position 8 and 9.
And who is representing 8 and 9? Who's representing Mr. Freeman?
I believe it is conflict attorney. Let me double check.
Is this one of Mr. Lewis's cases?
Today's conflict attorney's name. Give me 1 second, Your Honor. I'm double checking.
Your Honor, if I may, positions 8 and 9 are conflict cases.
Okay. Do we have a conflict attorney present today?
Attorney Lewis was supposed to be here.
Okay, so that's what I just asked.
Oh, okay.
Right. So we can't do Mr. Lewis's cases because he's requested that they be placed at the end of the calendar. All right. So Ms. Kim, Ms. Sari, who else needs to go into the breakout?
Instead for this Wembley, it's me as well.
Mr. Segura? Anyone else? Okay,
Your Honor, if I may be placed in the breakout as well.
all right, Ms. Gant.
Your Honor, myself as well. This is
Ms. Weidman.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. I see you on too, Mr. Howard. You want to go to the breakout with us?
No, I'm good, Judge. I'm about to run to the vending machine real quick.
I met Derek Howard.
Oh, my bad.
All right. Okay. Courtroom 2, are you with us?
We're here, Judge.
Okay, so just so you know, for Mr. Wemby, it's going to be a $2,000 good bond, a mental health evaluation, stay away from the North Avenue address, no further contact with Ms. Ingram, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. He is also going to be placed on the May 5th competency calendar. Okay, who do we have next?
I'm gonna explain it to you. I got you, Wemby. Have a seat for me over here. Position 2, Mr. Breeze.
I think issue, you get the issue.
Good afternoon, Mr. Breeze. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Breeze, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002487C with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I got first arrest.
Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. The offense date is April 25th, 2022, and the location was 1543 Birmingham Highway in Milton. And the victim in the case is the defendant's wife, Claire Breeze. traditional spelling. The officers responded to the above location in reference to a domestic dispute, excuse me, where Ms. Breeze advised that the defendant walked up to her and started berating her with curse words. When she then suggested that they go ahead and separate and end their marriage. He then grabbed her by the hair and pulled her backwards, drug her to the ground. Officers were able to observe a large red mark on her back. He also pulled hair from the root of her hair. And it's also an indication that she told officers that during the course of the attack, he did put her into a headlock. The officers also took note that there was redness on her neck and that there was a laceration by the bridge of her nose. All of this took place, Your Honor, in front of their minor child, which is concerning. And I do believe that the victim is on the Zoom or will be on the Zoom, and she may want to speak to the court. I understand that this is the defendant's first arrest, but the state's concern is the sheer violence of this attack, the dragging, the hair pulling, coming out from the root of her scalp, and that the fact that this took place in front of their minor child, we believe that that is cause to recommend a higher bond. In this case, I would recommend a $7,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, a third-party transfer for children, a one-day anger awareness course, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Darren Breeze is 51 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area his entire life. He is married and has been so for 8 years. He also informs me that he and his wife, Miss Claire Breeze, have been together for 20 years. They are the proud parents of a 3-year-old son, a 5-year-old daughter, and a 10-year-old son. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away at the incident location. I did have the occasion to reach out to the complaining witness. She informs me that she wants to have contact. Your Honor, Mr. Breeze completed high school. He is self-employed at Storm Gaming. Your Honor, he denies the allegations. He informs me that this was more so of a mutual combat situation. My client is 51 years old. This couple has been together for 20 years. No prior history, no arrest or anything like that. These are allegations, Your Honor. The state's bond recommendation is excessive for someone who is presumed innocent and has no convictions whatsoever for violence. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond as he is recommended. I am opposed to the no contact order and would ask that Your Honor order a no violent contact order. We are opposed to the stay away and do not believe that we will need any third party transfer if Your Honor grants my recommendations. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, our office did have the occasion again to speak to the victim, and in the course of the conversation she had with our advocate, she clearly stated that she wants no contact and a stay away from the home. So I'm, that's our position, and we would like that to stay in place. It's only happened a day ago, let me just double check, yesterday. So there needs to be some time apart, at least some cooling down. In this instance, I don't think that we can forget that this happened in front of a minor child. And even though it is his first offense, it was violent. So that's why the recommendation is what it is.
Okay, thank you. Is Ms. Claire Breeze on the line? If you are on the line, this is your opportunity to address the court if you wish to. I believe I saw her here earlier. I don't see her at the present time. As such, for the battery family violence, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. For the cruelty, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. One-day anger awareness. No further contact with Claire Breeze. Stay away from the 1543 Birmingham address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. And he can have third-party transfer for visitation with the minor children. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay?
Thank you.
Good luck
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 15, Mr. Long.
Good afternoon, Mr. Long. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Long. You've been charged in case 22 CR 002478H with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
27 total. Last arrest was 2016. Probation violation for felony drug possession. 2016 trafficking cocaine, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. Possession of cocaine with intent conviction from 2016. Possession of a Schedule II controlled substance 2015. That's a lot of drugs. So that's it, Judge, in the last 11 years.
So no violence in his history?
Not within the last 11 years, no.
Okay.
I see a 04 battery, simple battery that was DWAP. Yeah, 04 robbery, burglary. I don't have a disposition for those. But that's it as far as violence that I saw in that time.
Thank you. Ms. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to 717 Lee Street in Atlanta regarding a physical dispute. The victim, Shamaya, SMYAH, last name is Thornhill, THORNHILL. She stated to the officers that she and the defendant were in a verbal dispute when the defendant got upset. The victim stated that the defendant stabbed her with a knife and then grabbed her by her hair and drug her body through the kitchen. The victim did sustain a laceration to her hand, and the officers found a broken knife on the ground. The victim also told officers that their mutual child, the defendant and the victim's mutual child, was also punched in the face by the defendant. Your Honor, initially we only had the warrant, so we have sent this case up to the DA's office for review. We've heard from pretrial of the defendant's history. I did want to note he does have a 2020 obstruction with violence arrest. I don't see a disposition for that. He also has multiple FTAs and probation violations in his history. The state's recommendation is a $10,000 cash bond with conditions of no contact with the victim, stay away, 1-day anger awareness course, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Long is 45 years old, and this happened on December 20, 2021, almost 4 months ago. And they do not live together at this point, and there has not been, they don't have any other violence incident whatsoever. And my client denies about, allegations being a primary aggressor. He has 2 children, 1 and 6 years old. And because of his car accident, he has not been able to work ever since for about 3 years with his disability. He got GED, and he was in prison quite a bit, about 18 months for other charges. And there was, the 2020, that was never convicted. There was no other violence conviction whatsoever in his history. So we would like to request for signature bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give him signature bond, we would like to request for the maximum amount of $1,000 surety bond, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, we would also like to add a third-party transfer of the children. They do have minor children together.
No objection.
Does he have any need to go back to that Lee Street address for anything, Ms. Kim?
Just one time would be enough, Your Honor.
All right, a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Thornhill, stay away from the 717 Lee Street address, He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, third-party transfer for visitation of the minor children, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
So Your Honor, his bond is $2,000. That mean I have to pay, or can he sign himself out?
Okay, who's talking, Matt?
Ms. Thornhill.
Okay, I didn't know that you were there, Ms. Thornhill. You only have an iPhone. Would you like to address the court with regard to this matter?
Yes, I no longer want to press charges, and I was also mad at the time, which he didn't physically put his hands on me. I was just talking out the side of my mind because I was actually mad. He do take care of his kids. He's not a bad person. Whatever he has to do, he gets it done. So I'm just asking, can you just please let him out so that he can be able to take care of his kids?
And Your Honor,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I was just asking about the bond. Can he sign himself out, or do he have to pay?
Okay, so it's a $2,000 good bond, which means it's a surety bond, which means that he's going to have to pay something to get out, but he can work with Ms. Kim.
Okay, that's fine. No
As far
problem.
as how that's going to work.
Okay.
Anything? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Did you have anything further, Ms. Sari?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Long. You also, Ms. Thornhill. Ms. Kim, your client has a question.
Mr. Long, I would like to ask you to remain silent. You have every right to remain silent.
All right, but I want to say something though. I was like, I understand what you gave me the bond, but like this right here, like interfering with me taking care of my kid, because as you see, I was still picked up at that address for the one. Like I have been there, like I pay the bills there. So you taking me away from where I lay my head at. But I ain't tripping about that, but I just don't want to be in a position going somewhere and I actually get caught, then I'm in trouble again, because I know how this is gonna play out. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, Your Honor. He does pay bills here, and his kids, our kids, they stay with me, so he pay bills here. So if he has to come over here, it won't be no physical fight or nothing of that. So I was just trying to make sure that he's able to come around his kids.
And Your Honor, we can't guarantee that there'll be no violence between the two. With these allegations, we're asking that you keep the no contact order in state.
Okay, I've already made my ruling, so it's going to stand. Ms. Kim, if you can work with him regarding that, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So long, I'll be happy to call you.
Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 21, Mr. Taylor.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, for cutting you off. May I please leave now, or?
Yes, you can be excused, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good afternoon, Mr. Taylor. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002480G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yes, 85 total, Judge. See, last arrest was 2020 probation violation. There's an open shoplifting, 20 SC 176375. On probation for another theft by receiving auto, 10 SC 95394, as well as another shoplifting. I didn't see any violence in the last 10 years at least. I stopped there. 2015 failure to appear financial transaction card theft. Most of his stuff is theft though within the last 10 years, whether it's financial transaction or theft by receiving or shoplifting or forgery.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Segura?
The incident is on March the 14th, 2022 at the incident location of 355 North Avenue, Northeast Atlanta. In this incident, police officials were dispatched to an information about a domestic dispute. When they arrived on the scene, they spoke with a Miss Toronto Howard, spelled Tawandr, Howard, who stated that she was assaulted by her now ex-boyfriend, who is a defendant. That she informed the police that she was initially in the bedroom of the incident location and she walked to the kitchen to get a glass of water in the morning. At that point, she witnessed a defendant named closely to another woman, and then she ended up waking up the defendant to tell him to move because he was laying too close to the other woman. At that point, the defendant got angry and had a verbal dispute with Miss Howard. At that point, the defendant became combative, slapped her, choked her, and then pushed her around aggressively. At this point, when police arrived, there was found several scratches on the left side of her neck that recalled when the defendant was actually choking her. Alongside, she states the defendant took her cell phone from her and thus she was not able to call to police until a later date. At that point, she left the location to find security that works on the property. And then when she found security, they escorted her back to the residence and had the defendant leave the location. She initially said she did not call to police at the moment because she was afraid and she was shook up from the experience. But the police do have a photograph of the scratches to her neck, which, as Ms. Howard said before, it was because of this. Because of this, we're asking for a $6,000 surety bond, one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, stay away from 355 North Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, and no further contact with Ms. Howard. Allegations are based on these facts, and also, even though we were unable to contact Ms. Howard, we know that based on the allegation of choking, we still investigated for to determine if we were transferred for a felony. And even though he has no violence in the last 10 years, we do acknowledge that there's a high risk of reoffending because he is still on a judicial hold for felony fraud, 19 SC 169-08489. And we're just deeply concerned on the safety of Ms. Howard, especially considering that we still have no contact with her. Thank you.
Kim?
Yes, Mr. Taylor is 44 years old and they do not live together and he does not object to stay away. He does not even have to go there for one time. This happened on March 14, 2022, more than a month ago. Mr. Howard is expecting twins very soon and he really needs to keep his job at airport. He's been working there and to take care of his kids, wife, and his mother, who is disabled because of a recent stroke that she was going through. He graduated from high school and he is currently taking classes at college for medical technician, to be a medical technician. However, this warrant was kind of shocking to him because it didn't happen as it was described. He denies the allegation and he really has to go back home. There was no violence whatsoever in the past history. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet because of the probation and current open cases, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature bond, we would like to request for $500 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Howard. Stay away from the 355 North Avenue address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah. Position 6, Mr. Dixon. You're next.
Good afternoon, Dixon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Dixon, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002488G with battery, simple battery, and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
This fifth arrest. Last was back in February, simple battery, family violence. A 2011 probation violation, not prosecuted. Another 2011 probation violation, not prosecuted. 2010 sale of marijuana. It was admitted to misdemeanor possession conviction. He's already on a $2,500 pretrial bond from the February arrest. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on April 23rd, 2022. The location was 30 Alabama Street Southwest at the 5 Points MARTA station. Essentially, the defendant was at the 5 Points MARTA station. He began cursing and giving the middle finger to the victims in this case, who are Deja Patrick and Destiny Patrick. And I'll spell Deja for the record. It's DEJAH, last name Patrick, and Destiny, common spelling Patrick. So he started cursing them out, giving the middle fingers to the victims. He yelled explicit language to them. And then he walked up to Deja Patrick and he just pushes her. And then he began wildly swinging his hands and struck Destiny Patrick several times. Destiny Patrick had visible bruising. This all occurred while he was actively suspended from MARTA. And the suspension was issued in May 8th of 2021, which became active on June 5th of 2021. And it was a 365-day suspension. I believe, Your Honor, that a $2,500 surety bond is now required in this case. As Mr. Howard mentioned, he has that open case for the simple battery family violence. That's a different victim, but he was given the $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. And the first condition is not to violate any ordinances or laws of the state of Georgia, which he did. So I think that he presents a risk of reoffending. This was just a few months ago. Additionally, he is a danger to the community and the victims. This seems to be an unprovoked attack or a verbal argument. And these are strangers to him from what I can tell, Your Honor. In light of that, like I said, I would recommend the $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victims, stay away from the incident location, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Darius Dixon is 31 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 20 years. He has family here, extensive community ties, Your Honor. We are unopposed to the stay away at 30 Alabama Street if there is an active suspension. Mr. Dixon completed high school. He has been unemployed for the past 3 months. And Your Honor, he denies the allegations. He states that he informs me that these 2 women jumped him and that he was acting in self-defense. Now, regarding my client's history, we heard about 5 cycles. However, the most recent case is open. February 2022, that's an open case. He is presumed innocent. Prior to that, my client had not had any contact with the legal system since 2011. Furthermore, regarding being a danger to the community, my client states that he was attacked, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Dixon's behalf. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for the lowest bond possible. As I've reached out to his mother, Marcy Jower, she informs me that she does not have the means to pay anything toward his bond. So in essence, he would just basically remain in jail. He would have no bond whatsoever. We are, again, opposed to the stay away. We are opposed to the stay away unless there is an active suspension in place, and he does not know these people who attacked him. Therefore, we are unopposed to any no contact orders. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so for the battery, it's $1,000 good bond, simple battery, $500 good bond, criminal trespass, $500 good bond, so a total of a $2,000 good bond. If there's an active suspension from MARTA, he is to abide by it. No further contact with either Deja or Destiny Patrick. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who do we have next?
Position 5, Cherry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cherry. I'm Judge Eric Mora. This is the state expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Cherry, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002486D with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
22 total. Last arrest was 2015 misdemeanor, possession of marijuana. 2015 DUI dismissed. 2014 battery DV. It was not prosecuted. 06 suspended license. He has history out of Tennessee, but the last arrest there was in 03. That's it.
Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on April 1st, 2022. The location is 40 Peachtree Valley Road in Atlanta. The victim in this case, her name is Tangeel Cherry, Tangeel, last name Cherry. This is a very serious incident, Your Honor. It appears that the defendant came to Ms. Cherry's apartment to have a conversation. He asked her to come outside to talk, and she did so. Somehow that conversation escalated into a heated verbal argument. Ms. Cherry went back into the apartment building to kind of de-escalate. The defendant followed her into the building and forced his way inside her apartment unit. He then cornered her while she was in her kitchen, and then he choked her and threw her to the ground several times. Miss Cherry had scratches on her neck. She lost her voice for a week. She had soreness to her neck and throat. She reports that she almost passed out during the attack and that she was dizzy. In light of those, that information, Your Honor, this case is being considered for felony transfer at this moment for a more serious charge. We did get to, I do want to point out, Your Honor, because of the nature of the injuries that the victim sustained, we believe that this defendant presents a very immediate danger to this victim. Like I said, the attack caused her to lose her voice for a week. So I can only imagine how much pressure he had to apply in this case for that to be the status of things, and that she had a sore neck and throat. He is a multi-state offender, as Mr. Howard pointed out, with a remote conviction out of Tennessee. The more recent concerning arrest that he had that was not prosecuted in Dekalb with a different victim was the battery family violence. However, it does show that he has a violent history. In light of the sheer violence of this attack and the injuries that the victim sustained, our recommendation is $25,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, a one-day anger awareness, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
Have you spoken to Ms. Cherry?
We did.
And?
Yes, Your Honor. She was able to give us some additional details about her injuries, and that's what I reported in my presentation, Your Honor. I don't believe that she's going to be on the Zoom today. Who
is Ms. Cherry to Jason Cherry?
Ex-husband, ex-wife and ex-husband.
Okay.
No children together. Let me just double check my notes. It's my understanding that she does not want any contact from Ms. Cherry. She wants him to stay away from her home.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harmon. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jason Cherry is 47 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 22 years. He informs me that although Ms. Cherry and he divorced, they had started dating again. They do not share any children together. However, there are 4 children between the two of them. Mr. Cherry completed college. He has an associate's degree in mechanical engineering. He is an assistant chief engineer for CBRE. He has been in that position for the past 13 years. Your Honor, Mr. Cherry denies the allegations, and the warrant that I read indicates that Ms. Cherry had scratches on her neck. I did not read about any of the things that the state presented, and I would submit to this court that Your Honor should consider what's in the warrant. Furthermore, regarding my client's history, we heard about offenses. However, the most recent was in 2015. That was for possession charge, and I did not hear about any convictions for violence. And Your Honor should not rely on arrests that have not led to convictions. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Cherry's behalf. The report that I received states that he is recommended for a signature bond. However, if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. And I would also bring to the court's attention that Mr. Cherry informs me that he turned himself in to defend against these allegations, Your Honor. Ms. Cherry called me. I spoke to her. I will gladly place her number in the chat. I left a message for her. She returned my call, and she
Is this me or is it Ms. Gann?
contact order.
Okay.
The parties do not live together. However, I am opposed to the stay away at 40 Peachtree Valley Road, as they do share 4 children between them, among them. So that would, allow for him to continue being actively involved in the children's lives. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so it's going to be a $10,000.
Your Honor, can I just follow up on that? I do want to point out that the police report did indicate that the victim was choked. And our office did speak to her, and she made it very clear that she did not want any further contact with this defendant, nor did she want him to be near her residence. Your Honor, I didn't ask for a high bond just to ask for one. This was violent. This could cause severe injuries to the victim in this case, and I think it's very concerning. I don't think it's in the best interest of her safety for the defendant and the victim to be located in the same place at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Harmon. It's going to be a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Tangiel Cherry, stay away from the 40 Peachtree address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. There's to be third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Cherry.
Position 10, Mr. Goodwin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Godwin. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 002482B with simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
28 total. 1 FTA 2017. Last arrest was on the 21st of this month. Douglas County, trespass, interference with government property. That's open. On probation, theft by taking, 17 SC 155547. In 2019, they gave him 4 years, 9 months probation. All right. 2017 battery, third or subsequent offense on the same victim, and simple assault, those were convictions. 2017 failure to appear, possession of a firearm during a commission. 2014 probation violation. 2014 simple assault, simple battery, disorderly conduct conviction. 2011 FTA. 2010 probation violation. 2010 simple battery DV conviction. 09 battery pled no low. That's it. And he got history out of Tennessee as well. I'm sorry. 2014 domestic assault, that was dismissed. 2016 theft of property, dismissed. 2021 evading arrest, theft of a motor vehicle, theft of property, handgun. Looks like those were dismissed as well. That's it.
Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred, I believe, on 4/25/2022. The location is 3215 Cushman Circle Southwest. The victim in this case is Latandia Lowe, Latandia, last name Lowe, Lowe. The officers in this case responded to the incident location in reference to a dispute. Ms. Latandia Lowe indicated that the defendant became upset when he noticed that she was getting text messages on her phone. He then choked her with his right hand and yelled at her, and then he left the residence. She further indicated to the officers that the relationship has had some violent past interactions, but she did not have any visible injuries. Because she made that statement to officers, officers started to look for previous reports, and as did I. And what we found in the past, Your Honor, is the 18 SC 159332. That was a guilty plea on a battery family violence against this same victim. In that case, the defendant put his arms around her neck, pushed her to the ground, and pointed a black semi-automatic gun at her pregnant belly and said, "I will kill you this time." That incident occurred in front of her 4-year-old daughter. There is also the incident of 16 SC 145316. That is June 29th, 2017. It was initially charged as an aggravated battery, which was reduced to a reckless conduct, where he pled guilty and got 12 months probation. In that incident, he disfigured her neck by shooting her. In this case, Your Honor, I believe that the defendant is a very clear and present danger to this victim. He has no hindrance in hurting her as he done it in the past, as we can clearly see from these guilty pleas. Additionally, he is a multi-state offender, as Mr. Howard pointed out, with a history sprinkled with various domestic assault arrests, albeit all not convictions, but violent history in the state of Georgia and in the state of Tennessee. In light of the foregoing, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $25,000 surety bond. Excuse me. No further contact with the victim. Stay away from the incident location. A one-day anger awareness class. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons. A third-party transport for any children. Thank you.
Is this your case, Mr. Lewis?
It is, Judge. Good afternoon again to you. Thank you for holding for me.
Okay.
Judge, I'll begin my my argument by calling a witness, Your Honor, for the purposes of bond in this instance. I'd like to call Miss Latandia Lowe. Miss Lowe, are you present?
Yes.
Miss Lowe, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You can lower your hand, Miss Lowe. Miss Lowe, you've heard the state describe the event on this day. Was Mr. Godwin the primary aggressor in this case?
No.
Okay. So there are some facts that are actually missing from what the state has read out today?
Definitely.
Thank you. Ms. Lowe, are you afraid of this defendant at all?
No, sir.
Do you want him to stay away from you or your children or the residence where you reside right now?
No, sir.
Thank you. Judge, I have no further questions for this witness at this time prior to finishing my my request for bond.
All right, I have some questions. Ms. Lowe, it was reported that he choked you with his hand. Is that correct?
No, Your Honor. He was simply trying to get me off of him as I was the aggressor this time.
Did you call the police?
I did call the police after the altercation, after he had left.
And why did you call the police?
Because I was mad, Your Honor. I was mad, and I know that was not the right thing to do, but I did do that.
And you told the police at that time that he choked you?
I told them that he put his hands around my neck, not that he choked me.
Okay, this is not the first time that an incident has happened like this, is it?
We've been together 10 years, and yes, sir, we have had altercations.
And you had altercations where you've had to call the police?
Yes, sir. And he's called the police on me as well.
And you've had altercations where he's been found guilty of battery family violence against you?
I guess if he pled guilty, I don't even remember all of that, honestly.
And you have children together?
We have 2 children.
How old are your children?
My daughter's 8 and my son's 3.
And your children know that this is happening in your household?
No, sir. No, they weren't present when I attacked him. They weren't present.
Okay.
And the incident where I got shot, which was an accident, my daughter wasn't around and I didn't have my son yet.
All right, Ms. Harmon, any questions?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. No questions, Your Honor. I cannot just follow up after Mr. Lewis.
Okay, that's fine. You can continue, Mr. Lewis. Thank you. Ms.
Thank
Lowe.
you, Judge. Judge, I rarely call anybody as a witness at a bond hearing first appearance, but I did in this case because what I was hearing suggested that further investigation needed to be done early. Ms. Lowe confessed something here that I did not necessarily want her to confess, but I couldn't advise her to do otherwise, Judge, because that would have created the same conflict that the public defender had with respect to representing this young man. And what Ms. Lowe confessed is that she has had the police called by my client on her as well. Judge, he's 36 years of age. I don't know the ins and outs of his history other than what has been read to you by pretrial services. I don't know what's meritorious and what's not, given the fact that Ms. Lowe has just told us that there was an accidental shooting where we had it described as a more deliberate act by the state. I've heard a number of cases, charges recited by Mr. Howard that have been either dismissed, downgraded, and some pled to, and some even pled as a nolo contender. Given the fact that Ms. Lowe, who is alleged by the police officer to be the victim, although she has stated today that she was the primary aggressor, Judge, I would ask the court to not give a surety bond in this case. I would ask the court to give a signature bond in this case. I think a no violent contact is probably appropriate, although if my client is doing violence at all in this case, and I don't know that because of what Ms. Lowe has now stated, he's doing so to get her off of him. And so for that reason, Judge, I would ask the court to impose a signature bond in this matter. And that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Harmon.
And Your Honor, of course, I'm going to thoroughly disagree with that for the reasons I outlined before. My concern and the state's concern in this case is that there is a documented history of violent interactions with these parties. In the police report, Ms. Lowe even indicated that there were some things that she did not report to the police that had been going on between them. But I'm only reporting on what I found in Odyssey and what we have documentation of. And the sheer fact of the matter is, Your Honor, is that there have been 2 convictions against the same victim. Both of those convictions involve violence. And here we are again with the same incident. And like I said, one of the incidences took place in front of her 4-year-old daughter. So this is extremely concerning. And the surety bond is and just to provide for the victim's safety, for the safety of her family. I don't believe them being together and being in contact with one another is a good idea in light of this history and in light of the violence of this incident in particular. So I would request that you follow my recommendations or the state's recommendations in this case and keep it as a surety bond a high surety bond, just to protect the victim in this case?
Judge, by way of response, this is my bond motion. I don't think any dollar amount does anything except for assure a person comes back to court. I think taking any dollar amount out of this family's household and out of these two children's mouths potentially is injurious to the victim, the purported victim, as well as as society as a whole. We have a sworn statement now before you by the only person that was there. The police officer was not a witness. And so it's now in front of you. And so I would ask the court to rely upon the sworn statement from the only witness that's now in front of you. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't think it's a good idea that Ms. Lowe is around Mr. Godwin or that Mr. Godwin's around Ms. Lowe, to be quite honest. And I don't think that this behavior should go on in front of these children. I think it's injurious to the children, this behavior that continues to go on. We've got documented, we've got it documented that he's been convicted of battery family violence in the past. And even if Ms. Lowe's saying that she's calling the police and that she's trying to get back at Mr. Godwin, it's not a healthy relationship for them to be around each other for these children, that's for sure. It's going to be a $5,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Lowe. Stay away from the incident address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, no alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And let me make it clear, Mr. Godwin, even if Ms. Love wants you back there, if you go back there, if you're around Ms. Love, you're the one that's going to be going to jail. Okay, so if you violate this order, you will be right back where you are if you make bond.
Sir, Your Honor, can I speak, please?
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you, Mr. Godwin.
And I'm advising that he's not if I'm going to be representing him. Now, if he's going to represent himself, Judge, of course, he's free to make any statements he wants.
Your attorney is advising you to remain silent. I've made my decision on your bond, Mr. Godwin. So, again, anything you say can be used against you as solicitors are here regarding this matter.
Is this matter accused already, Judge?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'm going to go ahead at this point in time, unless Mr. Godwin is firing me as his lawyer. I guess I need to ask that question first. Is Mr. Godwin going to be represented by me, or is he representing himself, or going to use some other lawyer?
You're mute, Courtroom too.
Yes, Mr. Lewis, I would be using you for representation.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Judge, at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and ask the court to record it as a speedy trial demand.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Godwin. You also, Ms. Lowe.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The South Annex is ready with position 23.
Sorry, Judge, we're not done South Annex.
Okay, let me finish up with Courtroom 2, South Annex, please.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Who do we have next?
Position 7, Mr. Dove.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dove. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Dove, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002481G with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
18 total. Last was 2017. Probation violation, theft by receiving. All right, 2017, Clayton County. He was given probation for theft by receiving. They gave him 2 years to serve, followed by 3 years probation. So based on the math, it would time out in August. I also have an open theft by receiving in Superior Court, 20 CP 191156. That's all.
Ms. Harmon?
Your Honor, this
Oh,
incident.
no. I'm sorry. Ooh, my bad. 2020 probation violation. He got a robbery in his history as well. 2015 probation violation for the robbery. 2015 disorderly conduct, simple battery conviction. 2014 probation violation, robbery. 2012, 2013 probation violation, robbery. 2011, same thing. So all of that came off of 2010 conviction. I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harmon.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on April 24th, 2022. The location incident is 3580 Cascade Road in the city of South Fulton, and that is a Shell gas station. The victim in this case is named Ricardo Rodriguez, for the record. So the victim advised that to officers, obviously officers reported to that incident location, and the victim advised that he was at the Shell gas station and he left his book bag unattended momentarily. When he came back, the book bag was missing. So the clerk pulled up some footage to determine that it was the defendant that took the bag. The officers made contact with the defendant in reference to the incident, and he returned to the gas station. There, the defendant told officers that he took the bag to this address of 1200 Utoy Spring Road. It's UTOY for $15, and then he tossed the bag in the woods. The bag was thereafter retrieved and returned to Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez reported that his tools that are valued at about $1,000 were missing out of the bag. We believe that this defendant presents a risk of reoffending. I'll start with the open case that is the most concerning with a theft by receiving in 2020. That is a different victim. You heard Mr. Howard's history that detailed probation violations and thefts from 2010 to present. I think that is the most concerning element of this case. And I think that due to that fact, a $3,000 surety bond is recommended in this case. No further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. So the open case and the probation are the most concerning elements here, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Harmon. Mr. Lewis?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, the facts as recited by the prosecutor don't support the charge of theft by taking under Georgia law. I would ask the court under that circumstance to give a signature bond. Sticking first to the IALA factors, my client is 31 years of age. I'm not in a position to dispute the record as read by Mr. Howard, and I believe Madam Prosecutor actually meant to say this is Mr. Dove's record. Judge, he has the things in his past that have been articulated. I did not hear that he had a failure to appear, although that was a rather lengthy recitation given by Mr. Howard, and at a point I became just a little bit lost. He is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia, Judge. He has completed the 11th grade. He is presently a construction worker. He has no children. So again, aside from only the looking at just the 4 IALA factors, of course, I believe it probably would warrant a surety bond in this particular instance. However, I'm asking for a signature bond because the facts as read do not support that charge, although it may support a charge under Georgia law. Thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Harmon?
No, except that he agreed that it does, we probably need a surety bond in this case, but that's based on the history, Your Honor. So I would ask that you would keep it as a surety bond and not a signature bond.
All right, $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Shell gas station on Cascade Road. No further contact with Mr. Rodriguez, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Dowd.
All right.
Position 1, Mr. Anderson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Anderson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002485G with battery. Is your history, Mr. Howard?
It's the one I showed you earlier.
Okay.
State, do you know about the open cases in DeKalb County? It's not on the GCIC.
No, I don't think I do.
Why don't you give the history for everybody, Mr. Howard, please?
Okay.
I know it's extensive, but
here's a question, Judge, before he goes into that, and I'm just taking, I think, a lead from Mr. Howard. Are there things in there that I would ask be not recited out loud?
Well, one charge, yeah. So.
Okay, then I'm gonna waive sounding on that, Judge, on that one charge.
Okay, that's fine, Mr.
It's a
Lewis.
capital offense, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
all right, so last arrest was April 2021, pointing pistol at another. So the open case in DeKalb is Aggravated Assault, theft by taking, violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. It's a kidnapping with that armed robbery. And then the capital offense that I'm not naming. That's it.
No, sir, that's not me. Is it muted?
Okay, Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's not my charge.
If you give me 1 sec, I'm just scrolling up.
That's not me, that's the wrong.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Anderson, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. Let Mr. Lewis speak for you, okay?
Your Honor, the date of the offense, it looks like it's 3/19/2021. The location is 2166 J Place in Atlanta. And the victim in this case is Homer Anderson III, who is the defendant's brother, I'm sorry. So the defendant went to his father's house, Homer Lee Anderson, with his brother. The defendant's father held his brother by the waist, and the defendant proceeded to punch his brother in the face repeatedly, which is the victim. The incident happened in front of an officer, and the incident was actually captured on body-worn camera. The victim insisted on prosecution in this case. The victim did not notice any injuries to the face at the time of the incident, but he did notice the injuries came up the day after, and he did take some pictures of those injuries. Based on the incident details, we believe that this defendant is a danger to the victim. And we are recommending a $2,000 surety bond on this charge, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. However, Your Honor, the last charge I had was the pointing the pistol to another. So I just want to, also add that this defendant presents a danger to the community based on his open charge in Dekalb. So in light of that, Your Honor, I think that we need to take that into consideration. He's not just a danger to this victim, he's a danger to the community at large. So I would increase that bond to a $25,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident address, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Just give me one moment.
Okay. Let me make sure that I've got this down right, Ms. Harmon. So Mr. Jeremiah Anderson and Mr. Homer Anderson are brothers.
Correct. And then, yes.
And they have a father.
Mm-hmm.
And the father held Homer Anderson while allegedly Jeremiah Anderson was allowed to strike him?
Correct.
Did you all arrest the father? Or
Not
was
for-
the father arrested?
Not in that incident, Your Honor.
Okay, that's a little odd to me, but okay. Let me know when you're ready, Mr. Howard. While we're holding on that case, Mr. Lewis, you have another case that's on the calendar, Andrew Freeman.
Yes, sir.
The state was, oh, you don't have to leave, Mr. Anderson. Hold on. The state was requesting a breakout room for Mr. Freeman, and when you were not here. Are you aware of any issues that Mr. Freeman's having that we need a breakout room for him for?
I have been told of some matters, Judge, and I think it's probably appropriate to have a breakout session at this point in time.
Okay, so while we're waiting on Mr. Howard, can we do a breakout room on Mr. Freeman right now? Would that be all right?
Sounds great, Judge.
Okay, who's presenting for Mr. Freeman from the state?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, and who would you like to have in the breakout room along with Mr. Lewis?
If we could have Miss Weidman as well.
Okay.
And who is that, Judge?
Ms. Weidman is over the solicitor's office. She's
Okay.
She's the
I'm
deputy.
familiar.
She's a supervisor.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
Judge Morrow, if there's nothing else interfering, if I may address the court once more, this is Attorney Ansley Sluss.
He's in a breakout.
Oh, he's in the breakout. Okay, thanks.
All right, Mr. Howard, have you found what you needed to find? Tucson Howard?
Who was the
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Okay, thank you.
All right, Judge.
Yes.
That information was incorrect. I just had someone look it up, so my file is incorrect. But history, he got one prior arrest. That's the pistol charge. He has a TPO. He's the victim minute, though, against a Homer Anderson III that was issued on March 10th, 2022. So he just got one previous arrest.
Okay, all right.
No, yeah.
Okay. And so we haven't quite gotten to Mr. Lewis. Ms. Harmon, given that, do you want to revert back to your request for a $2,000 good?
Yes, I think that would be more appropriate. So just to be clear, pretrial, you're saying, and Your Honor, correct me if I'm wrong, that that charge does not apply in this case.
Correct. That was someone with the same name, a way different birth date, and height don't even match either.
Thank you very much for clarifying that.
All right.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm so sorry for going back and forth with that, but yes, I think that I will withdraw that higher bond recommendation and go back to my original bond recommendation, which is a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. And I did fail to mention that I do believe that these parties have the protective order against one another. But I think it's probably best that they don't have contact with one another for each other's safety.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harmon. Mr. Lewis?
Is there a protective order against I heard one against my client. I did not hear a reciprocal order out there. Yeah, I'm just trying to follow. And then one other question for Mr. Howard, the pistol charge, I can't remember in all of that we went through what the pistol charge was.
April 2021, pointing or aiming pistol at another.
Okay.
Your client is the victim in the TPO.
Yes, I thought that's what I heard, but I just wanted to get clarification on that.
Yeah.
All right, Judge. Okay. This young man is 28 years of age, Judge. Well, we already know he didn't have any history other than the misdemeanor of pointing or aiming a pistol. So no open cases other than that, if it is open, not a felon, not on probation, no failures to appear. He's a college graduate, Judge. He has 2 children, 2 daughters. He is not married. He works as a bus driver, Judge, with the Atlanta Public School System. And he also works as a grocery clerk at Kroger, Judge. He is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. Judge, I'm going to simply remark on the fact that there was no one else arrested, although you heard the facts recited that I heard, and we now know that there is a TPO against the other person. So I am just a tad bit perplexed, but my being perplexed is not germane. So I would ask the court at this point in time to give a signature bond through the jail to this person, to my client. And I believe if there's a TPL already in existence, well, I'll just leave it alone at that point, Judge.
Okay, so does he have a reason to go back to this 2166 J place?
Let me see hold on just a minute. Let me look back up in my notes, Judge. No, that's not his home address, Judge.
Okay, so it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Homer Anderson, his brother. Stay away from the 2166 J Place, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Who do we have next, courtroom 2?
Judge, while we're waiting on courtroom 2 to join us, are you the custodian of your records today?
I'm not the custodians of any records, Mr. Lewis.
I asked that because I remember Judge Manning making a statement that if anybody wanted a record, they had to get to her. And I'm like, woo, so let me get to you right now.
I'm sorry, Judge. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Judge. I just walked back in the courtroom. What was the bond amount for position 1?
$3,000 signature bond through the jail.
Okay, thank you. This is position 9, Mr. Freeman.
And I think Mr. Freeman is positions 8 and 9.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Lewis, was that the only question?
Nope, sir. I'll figure it out.
All right, very good. Ms. Story?
Yes, Your Honor. For the date of offense 4/10/22, officers were dispatched to MARTA at 30 Alabama Street in Atlanta regarding a theft. The victim, William Treadway, last name is Treadway. His bike was secured by a lock and chain to a bike rack. The defendant cut the lock off the bike and took the bike. We haven't heard from pretrial regarding the history, but I'll give it.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Story. I'm sorry. Let me go to pretrial and have them give the history. And again, Mr. Freeman, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar. You have been charged in case 22 CR 002489B with criminal trespass and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and in case 22 CR 002490B with theft by taking. Mr. Howard, is there a history?
I had to take in the item, sir. The other 2 charges are true though. It was like, just letting you know.
Okay, Mr. Freeman, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I appreciate it, though. Mr. Howard? All right, well, if you'll go ahead, since Mr. Howard's not on the line, Ms. Sorry for me. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. I have down at least 10 cycles. He has 3 open cases with MARTA and date of offense 3/18/22, unlawful entry. That case is open. He has a criminal trespass and disorderly conduct that's open. A criminal trespass at Georgia State University from 2001, that's open. As well as a simple battery, simple assault from last year that is currently open. He does have a 2015 criminal trespass, no low conviction, 2015 forgery in the 4th, guilty conviction, and he has a FTA from last year. The bond is currently set at $2,500 surety. We're asking that it remain as set with conditions of staying away from MARTA, the incident location, no contact with the victim, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. For the second case, Your Honor, date of offense 4/25/22, MARTA officers at MARTA located at 401 10th Street in Atlanta approached the defendant because he was laying on a bench, which is a seating area for patrons. When the officers informed the defendant he could not lay across the seat and had to allow others to sit, he became irate and yelled that he was a war vet, a professional wrestler, and an undercover agent for the CIA. The officer tried to explain the MARTA policy to the defendant, but he refused to listen and kept over talking. The defendant told the officer, quote, you're going to have to move me inward. The defendant then balled up a fist and started walking towards the officer. The officer then attempted to arrest the defendant when he resisted by pulling away, twisting his body to avoid being handcuffed. He was eventually arrested and issued MARTA suspensions. The state's recommendation in this case is a $2,000 surety bond. That's $1,000 on each charge with conditions of staying away from the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Mr. Lewis?
Judge, I just need one quick thing clarified by Madam Prosecutor. She read it well, but my memory obviously sucks. What was the date of the bike incident?
That date was 4/10/22.
Okay. And then the date of the lying across the bench was on what day?
That was yesterday.
Okay, got it. All right. Thank you, Your Honor, for your indulgence. My client is 32 years of age, Judge. He is not a convicted felon. I don't believe he is on probation. If he has a failure to appear, it's only one. He's a high school graduate, Judge. He is not working. He is a divorced individual. He has no children. Judge, I would submit to you that, of course, my client has already denied the facts with respect to the bike incident. And then secondly, Judge, I would submit to you that the facts read by the state are inconsistent as read, in that he can't be both lying on a bench and walking towards somebody with a fist. You got to be lying or walking, unless we, doing those transformer kind of things. So I would ask the court at this particular point in time, knowing what has been recited to it by way of his criminal history, to give a bond based upon the Ayala factors in both cases.
Okay, so in position number 8, for the criminal trespass, it's going to be a $500 good bond. For the obstruction, a $500 good bond, so a total of $1,000 good bond. Stay away from MARTA, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. For position number 9, theft by taking, it's going to be a $500 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Treadway. Was there a stay away requested in this, Ms. Sari?
It was, Your Honor.
That was from MARTA also?
That's correct.
Stay away from MARTA and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Just so you all know, the state all-purpose reset calendar date is going to be May 10th it's going to be May 10th. Mr. Lewis, I would suggest that if Mr. Freeman does not get out of custody by that date, that possibly all of his charges could be taken up at one time, given that he has a number of them.
I'll attempt to coordinate all of that, Judge.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. Good.
What time is that calendar convene, sir?
We start at 9 o'clock. It's Tuesdays at 9 o'clock.
All right, I've got it, Judge. Thank you.
All right, very good. Good luck to you, Mr. Freeman.
Judge, I have a quick announcement for position 20. It's going to be a medical reset from Mr. Tanner.
Okay.
And
we'll reset that for tomorrow, 4/27. All right. And what about position 17, John Shallcross?
he's also a medical reset.
Okay. We'll reset that for 4/27 also, and that completes courtroom 2.
Yes.
Okay.
I have an inquiry, Judge, for you on Mr. Shawcroft. I've received an appointment notice today.
Oh, okay. Well, he's going to be. He's all right. So he's reset for tomorrow for medical reasons. So I guess we'll take him up tomorrow.
And one thing, sorry.
if I can finish, do I stay with him, or do you allow your counsel who's appointed tomorrow to pick him up? Since I've
Well,
never met with this person.
Well, I would think that since you've already been appointed for him, that you would pick him up tomorrow. Is that
Okay.
right?
All right. I just want.
Okay, right. Yes, he's already been assigned to you, Mr. Lewis.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And I apologize, Judge, if I may, before you end the calendar, I just wanted to request, if possible, if you could reconsider your earlier ruling in allowing a no violent contact for my client. She's the wife of a husband and wife who were arrested, and they now do not have matching bond conditions. I understand, why the judge was ruling, but this will result in her 17-year-old daughter who lives in that home to be kicked out additionally, and so she would not be able to continue going to school. Also, the husband and wife co-own 2 businesses together, and for them both, they actually need to be in communications. My client also earlier did say that she was not in fear of immediate violent contact from the officer, from the husband. But just seeing this condition and the fact that I'm a bit newer to domestic violence situations in general, hearing about everything, I wanted to just point out the unfairness of the situation. But
Okay, let me stop you right there, Ms. Luss. Number one, I've been here for 3 hours now. We all have, your case was the first case. Tell me the name of your client.
I apologize, Your Honor. Anna Lindgren, last name is Lindgren.
All right, and so my notes indicate that I granted her a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, a 1-day anger awareness class, and no further contact with Mr. Weaver. Let's see, who was the solicitor that was presenting this case?
It was me, Your Honor, ASG salary.
Okay, and you had requested a $1,500 surety. So
that was before we knew of the allegation that the cross defendant is a potential domestic violence victim. So we're not asking to change the order. I understand the defense's position. I will defer to you, Judge, given that this was a dual arrest, but one person is a potential domestic violence victim. I'll defer to the court, but we don't feel there's a modification that's needed.
okay, so, and the issue here comes because Ms. Lindgren, because of being in the hospital, was not able to, if my recollection is correct, was not able to make it to court in time yesterday for me to hear both these cases at the same time. I heard Mr. Weaver's case yesterday. I granted him the same thing that I granted Ms. Lindgren, except that he was to stay in the household. Ms. Lindgren was to not stay in the household. So you see I'm between a rock and a hard place, Ms. Luss.
I completely understand.
You're telling me that she was injured enough that she had to go to the hospital. I don't want to put them back around each other at the present time. They both have an interest in being in that household, which is quite often, but I feel reticent to put to have them, have contact, especially given what you told me that she was placed in the hospital. I've already, the attorney, I've already made the ruling for Mr. Weaver.
She was taken to the hospital against her request. She asked not to be taken to the hospital. She did not request medical care. It was just based on what she said occurred, that the officers took her to Grady, and she asked that they not take her to Grady. So just if that helps at all, Your Honor. because of the 17-year-old in this house who attends Grady by walking from this house, and that 17-year-old is Miss Lindgren's daughter, and because of the fact that both parties co-own a business that they work together in every single day, just having no contact at this time, I would really, for the 17-year-old is the main thing. But I know that she did, was very concerned about what I was told. However, I was told by her, I asked her several times if she was scared of him, and she said that she was not. And I did not share that with the court this morning because I was also just still in shock from hearing about what all happened.
Do we have that order? All right, so no. Okay. It's going to be no further violent contact with Mr. Weaver, and I've taken out the stay away on request of counsel, and because it's what I did for Mr. Weaver yesterday. Okay.
Thank you very much, Judge. Thank you.
All right. So I believe you have a good afternoon, Ms. Luss. Courtroom 2, who do we have? I'm sorry, South Annex, who do we have? Ms. White?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Ms. White. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. White, you've been charged in case 22 CR 002476F with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fourth arrest, last was February 2021. Public order crime, 2017 FTA, 2016 criminal trespass conviction.
Is that it? All right, Mr. Segura.
The incident occurred on April the 25th, 2022 at 2865 Donald Lee Hardawell Parkway, Northwest Atlanta. Police were flagged down by the victim in this case, Miss Ayanna Watson. Ayanna spelled A-Y-A-N-N-A, Watson, common spelling, who told the police officer that her purse was stolen from the woman's bathroom. She stated that when she used the bathroom, she took her fanny pack off, which contained $330. Then she said when she returned back from the restroom, the fanny pack was gone. Then she noticed that her co-worker, who was the defendant, was leaving the club in a hurry, and she asked if she stolen her purse. The defendant denied it, but she did not allow the security to check her bag. Afterwards, the defendant left the location carrying a large purse, which Ms. Watson believed contained a fanny pack. Afterwards, the police made contact with the defendant and asked the defendant if she had Ms. Watson's fanny pack, which contained the money. The defendant replied no, but then the police officer informed the defendant he was about to search her vehicle. At that point, the defendant reached underneath her passenger seat and pulled out the black fanny pack, which contained all the money. As such, we are recommending a $2,000 surety bond, narco, drugs, and weapons, a stay from 2865 Donnelly Hardway Parkwell, Northwest Atlanta, and no further contact with Ayanna Watson. Our recommendation is based on these facts and also made contact with Ms. Ayanna Watson earlier today. She said that Ms. Ayanna Watson actually walks in that location and she was serving both the defendant and her boyfriend the entire time. And she said, and she doesn't want to have any contact with her and doesn't want the defendant to come back at that place. Thank you.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss White is 23 years old, and it was just very mistake that happened. She accidentally picked up the pocket that she thought it was hers. and she was in a hurry because she had to grab the Uber on time. Uber was waiting for her. She had to go out, and she picked up the wrong one without any intention. She returned everything. The bag was returned. All the cash was returned. It was a simple mistake that she made. And also about 2021 public order crime that was completely dismissed. It was not for her, not against her. So we would like to make sure that that does not give any kind of prejudice against her, the current case. And she recently got her job at Walmart Distribution Center. She want to continue her job. She does not want to get fired. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. She's 23, single mom with 2 children, aged 2 and 4, and they really need their mommy right now. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. And if Your Honor does not believe she is qualified for signature on bond, we would like to request for a maximum $500 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from Ms. Watson, or no further contact with Ms. Watson. Stay away from the Donald Lee Holloway address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Ms. White. All right, thank you, Officer Milton.
Thank you. I apologize for messing up today. It's been a crazy day.
All right, we'll see you.
All righty. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, let's see. I have Ms. Middlebrooks in court with me today, so when she's ready, we will go over the calendar. I believe that completes the SEA calendar for today. May I start signing? Is it me I start signing? Thank you.
Okay, position number 1 is a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Are they on there?
Can you all hear?
Yeah, we heard it.
Okay, all right.
Position number 2 is a $5,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Reset further notice. Position number 3 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Reset further notice. Position 4 is a $1,500 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Position 5, a $10,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Reset further notice. Position 6, a $2,000 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 7 is a $1,000 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 8 is a $1,000 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 9 is a $500 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 10 is a $5,000 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 11 is a $2,000 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 12 is a $500 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 13 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Reset further notice. Position 14 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Reset further notice. Position 15 is a $2,000 good bond. Reset May 10th. Position 16 is a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Position 17 has been reset to tomorrow's SEA calendar. Position 18 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Position 19 is a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Position 20 is a reset to tomorrow's SEA calendar. Position 21 is a $1,000 good bond. Reset SAP May 10th. Position 22 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Position 23 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Reset further notice. Position 24 is a $2,000 good bond. Reset to the May 5th competency calendar.
Okay, any questions and concerns? All right, if not, thank you all. We'll see you next time. Y'all be safe.
All right.